To be fair, I know you left me down and out, and now the river is red. Got that hit on your head. Should've buried your dead. Should've listened to me and said, oh, how little you know. You better watch out, my
YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A in LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact. Don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. All right, fam, if you are not an existing member of the 2A in LA fam, hit that join button down below. For a modest fee, you gain access to unreleased content that nobody else can see. You get access to bi-weekly giveaways where we give away some phenomenal things, including some incredible firearms. So make sure you join the 2A in LA fam club. Fam, also, if you hit that QR code, I know you see it, it's right there, it's over in that corner. Hit that QR code, that will take you to the 2A in LA website. There, you get access to our merch store, you get access to discount links, weekly hot deals, all of the above. So make sure you click the QR code, or there'll also be a link down below in the description. All right, that's it. Let's get this episode rolling. All right, fam, let's get this episode rolling. So look, fam. If you guys watch the channel, you know I had been wanting an Infinity in my collection since the onset, really. But they were, few and far between, hard to come by. They moved from like straight customs to like these design drops. And quite frankly, it was hard to break through. But I did so last year when I picked up my Infinity Baby Monster. And let me just let you check out your boy's Infinity Baby Monster. Look, fam, what I'm going to need you to do is stop playing with your boy. Look, I said it at the time, fam. Infinity's guns are highly functional works of art. The attention to detail in an Infinity is unlike any other gun. Now, there are gun makers out there like the Venoms of the world, like the Raffertys of the world, like the Hayes of the world, who can machine a gun as good or better than Infinity, can create a shooting gun as good or better than Infinity. But to have a gun that is this stunning with aesthetic details on every single inch of the gun, and it's a crazy shooter. Yeah, nobody does that like Infinity. So I told you guys at the time I picked up my baby monster that this is a more than one itch to scratch. There were going to be additional Infinity guns coming into the collection, and fam, I do not tell lies. Particularly when it comes to my guns and firearms, and we have picked up another pickup. If you haven't seen my initial impressions video on this gun, make sure you go back and check it out. But today, we are doing a full review of 2A NLA's Infinity Vicount. Fam, the Viscount is just next level gorgeous. I mean, it is just, again, aesthetically stunning. This gun is ported. It has that Infinity, that classic Infinity 2-port system. As you can see, it has that checkerboard finish. It has it across the top. It has it on the underside. Now, no dust cover on this one, no front rail, but it's kind of, the Viscount is kind of an ode to the 1911 roots of the 2011. And I gotta say, fam, most of the times when I see guns that, you know, don't have a full dust cover, don't have a front rail, that kind of harken back to a 1911 look, most of the time it's a turnoff for me. There's a reason why I don't have like a high cap, for instance, or a Mercier or something like that, where the guns have a more traditional look. Infinity figured out a way to give you that traditional look while making the gun look modern and stunning all at once. We'll go over the gun in detail. I'll put up the specs so you can check them out there. But so Infinity just kills it with the details in their guns. Every little angle, from the screws even being distinctive, to the texturing on the mag release and the slide stops, to the checkering on the main housing, to the tasteful Infinity signs, not all over the gun, but just one there, one on the mag well right there. Look, fam, they kill it, they kill it, they kill it in terms of aesthetics. Now look, some people may feel like some Infinity designs are like over the top and too much. And that's cool, because you don't have to get those guns. They make guns like this one, which is stunning but a little more subtle. Guns like the Baby Monster, stunning but a little more subtle, right? I just think it depends on your jam. I think sometimes people see like one of the out there guns and think, oh, Infinity is too whatever. No, no, no. If you want an Infinity, there is an Infinity for you. And I would guess multiple Infinities for you. Whether you're like your guns to be over the top, or you like them to be more understated, or somewhere in between, Infinity has multiple models for you. And I think that's one of the things that separates Infinity from a lot of other gun manufacturers out there, is that you can literally get, and I'm not exaggerating, 20 different Infinity guns, and none of them will be alike. You know, they'll all be distinctively different. And I think that's where Infinity just shines. But look, fam, enough about me ranting and raving. Let's get into the review of the Infinity Vicount. All right, fam, if you've never seen a 2A NLA review, scale is 0 being hot garbage, 100 being the most perfect gun ever made in the history of the world. That's also incredibly affordable. I've never had a 0. I've never had 100. One can always hold out hope. Typically, your average gun is going to be like 50 to 60. Something that's going to go bang every time. No feels, no thrills. Think Gen 5, Glock 17, right? A gun that's like a step above 60 to 70, that gun may have a feature or two that you don't see on kind of the average gun. If you've got something 70 to 80, okay, well now you've got a gun that is somewhat feature rich, and that is also a really, really good shooting gun. You got some 80 to 90, 80 to 90, 80 to 89, okay, now you're up in the best in class territory, particularly if you're like 85 to 89. We're talking about best in class guns. And if you've got something 90 and above, grail gun status. All right, fam, jumping into the review of the Infinity Viscount, we're going to start off with fit and finish. Like I said, I already put up the stats there so you can check them out, fam. The fitment on this gun is exceptional. Exceptional. Slide to frame fit, there is zero movement. Grip to frame, zero movement. That barrel fitment is phenomenal. Look, Infinity is one of the few companies that builds that where 100% of the parts that go into the gun they manufacture, so they control every aspect of the construction of the firearm. So you gotta love that about them, and they put together a phenomenal gun. Fit and finish, 15 out of a possible 15. All right, next up, reliability. So the thing about Infinity guns is, I say this too, I noticed it when I got my baby Monster. When I got my Rafferty, when I got my Venom, when I got my Haze, even most of my Atlases, they feel so smooth when you first get them. And it's like, man, it's like it's broken in fully or whatever. Infinities don't have that feel when you first get them. They tend to be a little bit gritty, a little, not bad, don't get me wrong. Compared to most guns, they're next level. But compared to the best of the best of the best, which is what you would compare Infinity to, they do feel like when you first get them, like a little bit gritty. Now this gun has some rounds to it. It's loosened up quite a bit since I first got it. But there does have that little bit of grit to it. And oftentimes, like this is my experience with my baby Monster, you gotta oil them down quite a bit when you first get them, right? And you're probably your first 2-3 mags or so, maybe you have a stovepipe here and there or whatever, but you get to about mag, if your gun is oiled, you get to about mag 4, 5, something happens. I mean, it feels good, but in terms of reliability here, something happens where the gun just settles in and finds its way, and it goes. It goes. First of all the little bit of grit that we talk, you don't feel. It's like the gun is on rollers. It just is so smooth and so fast and so accurate. Oh my. Oh man, I don't know. Am I blushing, fam? Am I blushing? Woo, I feel like hell. Reliability, we're gonna give it a 15 out of 15. Next up, durability. Look, fam, as I said, Infinity makes their own componentry in-house. Everything here that you see on this gun is just top notch. They spare no expense. Love how their guns are put together. Yeah, I've got zero issues with the gun relative to durability. Infinity's the kind of gun, literally, there are a few like this where I feel you can pass, if you take care of it, you can pass it down generation. It's not gonna miss a beat. Durability, 15 out of 15. Alright fam, next up, trigger. Look fam, for a long time I've said that nobody makes a trigger like Atlas. If an Atlas trigger is done right, it's always going to get a 15 out of 15 from me, right? And I didn't think anybody produced a better trigger than Atlas until I got my Infinity Baby Monster, and I was like, oh wow, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Look, just a hair of take up, just a hair, clear defined wall. Oh shit! Woo! Reset, fam. I'll go ahead and I'll put the trigger weight up there so you guys can see it, but Infinity's triggers are the best in the business. I don't know what they do. I don't know the voodoo that Infinity do, but this trigger, 16 out of a possible 15. I said it. 16 out of 15. You heard me. I didn't stutter. 16 out of a possible 15. This trigger is amazing. All right, fam. Next up, accuracy. So the Viscount is a full 5-inch bull barrel gun, whereas the Baby Monster is a 4.5. The Viscount is a little heavier gun than the Baby Monster, a little longer barrel length, ported, aids in it being even more flat, and that trigger is, like I said, insane. Look fam, I said that my Rafferty Lucky Devil was just the cheat code, and that gun has a huge comp on it, and it's ported, right, with ports bigger than what you see here on the Infinity. If this gun feels Rafferty Lucky Devil like, I'm not saying it's quite that, but it's very close. It is very close. This full size frame, the porting, the trigger, the balance of the gun, the machining of the gun, all works together to make a gun that is highly accurate. For accuracy, we're going to give the gun a 10 out of a possible 10. Next up, ergonomics, fam. This gun is incredible in the hands. It's very easy to acquire your grip, very easy to maintain it, made a lot easier by the porting, the smoothness of the trigger, the balance of the gun. I mean, from, you know, kind of 10 yards out, everything was just almost in the same hole. Just amazingly accurate. Accuracy, again, I gotta give it a 10 out of a possible 10. Alright fam, these next two categories, we're going to kind of lump them together. Aftermarket support, maintenance and upkeep. More and more companies are coming onto the scene to provide aftermarket support for the 2011 platform. Although, like I said, when it comes to Infinity, there is nothing to upgrade. And Infinity makes all their own parts, but yeah, I keep saying one of these days we're going to have to move this to a 5 out of 5 category, but for now we'll keep aftermarket support at 4 out of a possible 5. Maintenance and upkeep, similar to, and maybe even more so, you got to keep this gun oiled and clean to ensure its reliability. Every 1,000 rounds or so, break it down, or after every shoot, do a light brush clean and you'll be just fine. But aftermarket support, 4 out of 5. Maintenance and upkeep, 4 out of 5. Alright fam, next up, affordability. I'll put the MSRP up there. Look, yeah, it was very close to getting a 0. Very close. Typically my rule is, if the gun is kind of over 7,000 or so, you're gonna get 1 out of a possible 5, and if it's over 10, you're getting 0. almost got a 0. We're going to give it a 1 out of a 5 for affordability. All right, fam. Last but not least, flex. Is Instagram gonna go crazy? Is Reddit gonna be like, deep? Is YouTube gonna go bonkers? They already have. They already have. This is the flexiest. When I did the Baby Monster, I gave the Baby Monster 6 out of a possible 5 for flex. I'm sorry, fam. Even flexier, 7 out of a possible 5 for flex. Stop playing with your boy. It doesn't make any sense for a gun to look like this and shoot like this. Fam, flex points off the charts. All right, fam, if you add all of that up, you get a 97 out of a possible 100 points for flex. The highest score in the history of this channel. Edging out the Baby Monster, which got a 96. Edging out the Rafferty Lucky Devil, which got a 96. And maybe there's one other that was in that 96, 95 range. Yeah. Yeah. Fam. The Infinity Viscount sits on top of the mountain for now. Look, fam. Ecstatic to have this gun in my collection. Be assured that there will be future Infinities coming into the collection that could unseat the Viscount as the highest score. Also, look, fam, don't play with my boys. My boy Don at Venom is working on something for me. Ooh-wee. Could very well tie or take down the Viscount. I've got some other guns coming in, some other custom works, some other custom guns coming in. Stand by. But for now, the Infinity Viscount scores a 97 out of a possible 100 points, 3 points away from a perfect score and the highest score in the history of the 2A NLA channel. All right, fam, that's it for this episode. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.